Hi everyone, my name is Presley Patrick and I am your current Miss Grand Strand and my CSI is titled Strength and Stories Sharing Past to Resilience, where I interview individuals from various nonprofits and organizations throughout the great state of South Carolina. And I am so proud to announce that for my interview this week, I have the lovely Miranda Williams. If you don't know, Miranda was our guest speaker at our Red Gala at Miss South Carolina workshop a few months ago. And her story just captivated me so much and all the work she's done for the American Heart Association. So I asked her and she was so loving and she wanted to join us. So, Miranda, would you like to introduce yourself to my viewers?
Yes, and thank you so much for having me, Presley. That night was so magical. And I love just your whole platform and what you do. I think it's so needed and so important, especially with what is going on in our world every day. I think, learning from people's stories is so powerful. But yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Like you said, my name is Maranda Williams. I'm actually from Camden, South Carolina. I live in Columbia, South Carolina now. So moved here to go to USC for college years ago. I mean, literally, I've been here for 24 years now, which is crazy to think that it's been that long ago that I left home myself. But now I work for the American Heart Association of South Carolina, and I handle marketing communications for the Columbia and PD market. So I'm very excited to be here and talk to you today. So thank you for having me.
Of course, absolutely. So let's get started. So, can you tell us about your journey and how you became an advocate for the American Heart Association?
Sure. So I will tell you one thing that I guess, I always heard people say, you just never know what's going to happen and everything happens for a reason.
Mhm.
Now, like that literally is like my life story, like full circle. When I had my cardiac event, it was November of 2022. I was working in state government and loved my job. I had been in state government for I think probably like 5 or 6 years at that point. Um, and actually had, like I said, had a cardiac event. I had had COVID that May. My niece graduated from high school valedictorian, so my sister had a big party for us. So of course I went, and there were people there, and got COVID. So after COVID, I just didn't really recover really well. It took me a while, and I think probably what happened, and I'm not a medical professional, but I'm thinking this, I probably had an underlying heart issue and just didn't know it. And I think COVID just kind of exasperated.
Mhm.
And so I ended up having what they thought was vertigo. I was dizzy all the time. Um, I had a makeup studio at the time on Clemson Road, and I would literally be holding myself up on the wall, like trying to get through clients. It was crazy. But I was thinking vertigo. So then we took vertigo. I did vertigo medicine. The vertigo medicine didn't work. And they tried me on something for anxiety because I started feeling like the heart flutters and that kind of thing. The anxiety medicine was like way more than, I mean, I felt like I was like sleepwalking all the time. And so my doctor like kept trying different things, and they finally brought me in again because I had a very bad episode the one morning, and they realized that I was going through a heart issue. And so what they end up what it was called is tachycardia, but at the time I was in something called VTAC, which is a very dangerous heart rhythm. Some people don't make it through VTAC. I was very lucky that my doctor called, I mean, that I went to the doctor that day and that she kind of caught it, and it had to end up being in the hospital for 3 nights. So as a single mom, like that is super scary because who's going to take care of my child while I'm in the hospital? And luckily, I have a great support system, but that is really what started me on this path. Was me going through my own personal heart issue. And I have, like on my mom's side of the family, there's some heart attack issues, but I mean, I was 40 years old. So I had no idea, like, I never even thought about me having heart issues. And I think that's the other thing, like, we don't think about things. But when I really look back and think about what my life was like during that time, first of all, my son plays all kinds of sports. So we're going from basketball season to football season. During this time, it was the very end of football season. So we had just finished. Like literally, I was working a full-time state government job, and I was a director. I was a director of strategic communications. So I was in a very, very high-powered job during the week. I would leave there Saturday morning. I'd be at my studio 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, getting ready for clients. My son would have to be at the field at 11. I'd leave my studio, come home, get him ready, fix him breakfast, get him to the studio, be at the game, be the crazy mom on the side cheering. take him home, like hoping my mom or somebody would be there to get him. And then I'd go back to the studio and work till 5 or 6 o'clock. This was every Saturday. I was
Mm.
crazy, but I mean, I think we get caught up a lot in living a certain lifestyle, and I'm no different, honey. I was a pageant girl. So like back in the day, like I loved my dresses and I still do. I love to shop and I just want to be a certain, lifestyle. And
Yeah.
so I have to afford that. And I was doing all these things to do that, which is good, but it runs your body down. And at 40 years old, I was made to rest. Like my doctor, after I finished with my hospital stay, made me take off 2 weeks. And she really was like, okay, you've got to slow down. You cannot do the same things all the time because your son needs you, you need you. And that was what I really had to decide. And so one of the things about coming to the American Heart Association was I was in a job again. I loved my job. It was stressful though. So it made me kind of take a step back and look at everything. And there happened to be a job available at the time. I actually was the Go Red for Women Survivor Story
Mhm.
um, for April of 2023. And so the person that I worked with to tell my story had taken a position with National. And so there was a marketing job here in Columbia, and I was able to go into that role. And so I'm very grateful to be in this position. I'm grateful to be able to be here talking to you literally because it could have been a whole nother way.
Mhm.
But that's kind of how I got here. And it's amazing how full circle that came from having a heart issue to now be able to help people know be aware of heart issues and just know their risk for heart disease. And so I know that was probably a little over what you asked originally, but I just felt
That's
like I get it
perfect.
all out.
No, I love this because I personally heard your story at workshop, but there might be some on my Instagram who weren't at workshop and they didn't get to
Sure.
hear your story. So I'm glad you got to go through it a little bit so they understand how amazing your speech was that you gave, which
Oh, thank
actually
you.
leads me to my next question.
Sure,
What
sure.
motivated you to share your story at the South Carolina Goes Red Gala?
So I think one of the things that people and it's for me too with sharing your story, there comes a lot with that, right? Sometimes it can be overwhelming because you literally have to relive the hard part of it. And I think that's something that I struggle with sometimes. I'll just be honest with you. But on the other side of that, there are people, no matter where I go. This morning we were at a CPR training. We talked about the importance of CPR and how important, people that have good survivor stories, because there's both sides of it. There's some people that don't make it. There are a lot of people that do. And I think that's the part that fuels me is knowing that, I have been able to come through it, but I'm not the last person that's going to go through this. And I want other people to know what to look for. I want other people to be their own advocate. I want people to know how they can live a healthier lifestyle. And so for the pageant specifically, I don't know that I really planned on telling my story. Um,
Okay.
they reached out. We had been communicating. I know that this is another huge thing for the American Heart Association and Miss South Carolina or Miss America
Mhm.
overall. But it's a new partnership with Miss America Goes Red, and I love that, and I love just the opportunity to reach such an amazing audience. You think about women, how well we are able to band together and support each other. Like that was the thing I think that kind of made me skew towards telling my story, just because I used to be a pageant girl. My niece is a pageant girl. My sisters were pageant girls. So
Mhm.
like it was something that was personal to me, and I felt like these could be my people. So I wanted to be able to tell people what to look for, but also inspire someone that if they are going through things, that it's not the end. There's a way to, come out positive in any situation. And even though I went through a bad situation, it brought me to such a beautiful space to be able to help inspire other people, and to be able to talk to such a beautiful group of people. I mean, that was such an amazing. And I actually had some, like, after that talk, I had people that came up to me. One contestant actually had on a heart monitor that night. Oh my God. And she said, like, she was almost at a point where she didn't continue with the pageant because of her heart issue. And that, like, I mean, I literally got in the car and cried because I remember having the heart monitor. I remember, like, I've got to have another one soon just to see that if there's a procedure that we could do. But I remember that. I remember how, you know, embarrassed I was to try to cover it up because I didn't want, like, how you want to dress up and be cute. Like sometimes it's a little lower cut, but the monitor show, I mean, so
Mhm.
I totally understood exactly what she was going through. And I was 40. She was like 17.
Mhm.
So I can't imagine going through it at that age. But that's the other thing. Like the heart disease doesn't have an age on it. It's just sometimes, unfortunately, something you have to go through. But that's why I decided to come tell my story that day. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love how you said you were talking about sharing your story, that sometimes it's going to have negatives and it's going to have positives, but the whole
Mhm.
point is to share your story. So there's others out there, like that girl, for example, she related to you, she understand. That's
Right.
the whole reason why I did this as my CSI, was because I wanted there to be nonprofits and I wanted there to be stories that other people could relate to and that they could feel like this is somewhere that they could belong. You know what I mean? So I
Absolutely.
love that you said that, because that was like a key point for me in creating
Mhm.
my CSI. So that just like hit me real close.
Well, but that further tells you that we needed this. We needed this space. And so I thank you for giving us the opportunity. Yeah, because you just never know what people are going through, and if you can be a bright spot in that, I mean, that's just always always a very powerful thing.
Hmm.
So thank you.
Next question I have for you is, what are
Mhm.
some of the key messages that you aim to convey through your advocacy work?
100% self-care. I think that's the biggest lesson that I learned.
Mm.
And it's not even like I think people when you hear self-care, they think, oh, I'm taking a trip to Greece. Like, and that's great if you could do that. But self-care
Very
is
nice.
right, right. Because I want to do the picture with the dress flowing and all that too one day. But I think the biggest thing is really living a lifestyle that is conducive to the most healthy life you can possibly have. So, small things that the American Heart Association suggests: 30 minutes a day of cardio, some type of activity, some kind of walk, run, going to the gym. I've been doing Pilates, which I absolutely love, because I lost 55 pounds from the time that I had it. I mean, that from November 2022 to now, 55 pounds. And it was hard to do. I'm telling you, it is. But work with your doctor. There's ways to manage your weight that helps to manage your stress. If I missed a day at the gym, I feel like I missed a day at the gym. So I need my 30 minutes, or actually, I try to do more than that. Actually, I try to do that and weight. Not saying you have to do a huge weight, but some type of physical activity, 30 minutes a day. Eating more fruits and vegetables. That's a big thing. Like, instead of doing fries, get the kale crunch salad or do something different. But that kind of stuff is our small things we can do. Really try to manage your stress. I have been trying to read a book a month. And so that's another thing that, I used to do a lot of, which I still do a lot of TV and I do a lot of social media.
Mhm.
But sometimes that stuff can cause stress. You're comparing yourself, your life to other people's lives. Like, you don't need to do that all the time. Just finding small things to really manage your stress, manage your health, going to the doctor, making sure that you're regular on your appointments, like that kind of stuff is self-care also. Finding moments to spend with your family where you're just acting crazy, dancing, turn on some music, like have fun. I'm telling you, because that kind of stuff helps you just to, have a little more relaxation and clear your mind. And that's the part that I want people to think about the most. Just really take care of yourself as best as you can.
Absolutely. So going back, talking more about that advocacy work, how has
Mhm.
your personal experience with heart health shaped your approach to advocacy?
Oh my God, it's shaped it in every single way. Like one of the things, because that was my first part of it, was telling my story. That's what I get to do every day, is tell the stories of those people that don't have a voice all the time. And so I mean, there's been so many survivor stories that have touched me personally. And that's one thing that I love about just this role. I mean, for our heart ball, for example, we have heart babies. And so they're like, survivors that are, under 10, like and the crazy thing is like our heart survivor for this year they're actually her parents are pastors at my church. So I never knew that their baby, and she had open heart surgery at 4 months old. And so I'm telling you that there's so many stories that touch me so much, but being able to tell other people like this is what to look for, this is what to look out for, this is what to be aware of. We had another young lady, our Go Red survivor for this year, actually, Kat Goss. She actually was 21 when she had to have open heart surgery because of a leaky valve. Well, now she's a RN in the actual hospital, in the ICU, the cardiac ICU that took care of her.
Oh my God,
How amazing! How
that's such a
amazing!
full
Such a
circle.
pull, I'm telling you. So that's what I get to do every day. Today we did CPR classes at Girl Scouts, right? And one of the young ladies, my colleague did the demos, and one of the young ladies, she's probably 11 years old. She said, "Now, if I have to save a life, it'll be because of you." Oh my God, like that's what I get to do. So I feel like it's a
I would have
privilege for
cried
me.
right
Oh
then
my
and
gosh. I cry every
bawling.
day. Every day there's something. I'm such a sad, like every day. But I love it. That's one of the things. I think it just makes it's I feel more grateful to be here and be in this job than anything else. So it's amazing. Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to someone who wants to get involved in promoting heart health awareness?
I would say just do it. I mean, it's not like you have to have, I mean, because unfortunately, heart issues touch almost everybody. It's the number one killer of all Americans, more than all the cancers combined. So somebody probably knows somebody that's going through heart issues. And I would say just do it. I mean, there's a lot to learn about it. One of the things that with the American Heart Association, we always talk about is just being, learning about like the essential life's essentials eight. So one of the biggest things they push, but I mean, just tell people like if I tell one person, that person tells somebody something small, like something even with like the lifestyle or the diet. I mean, it's gonna help save somebody's life. So I would just say do it if you really want to do it. And that goes with any type of advocacy. Because it goes more beyond like even we do more even just the health. One of the other big parts of advocacy we do here is at the State House. And
Mhm.
so just this year we had two really big issues that we were working on. One was cardiac emergency response plans in South Carolina for schools, and the other one was TCPR, so training for telecommunicators that do like 911 dispatch. So now, because this wasn't a thing before, but now if you call 911 for somebody going through needing CPR training, that telecommunicator will be trained in CPR. And before it was, they weren't. Some of them probably had gotten it, but there was not like a full training requirement. So now it will be a full required training. But those are things that we were able to help lobby for at State House.
That is amazing. I never knew that. I guess I just had it in my mind that all people working for 911, those telecommunicators, they like had to know how to do that in case they weren't able to get there in time. But that's
I did
amazing.
too.
Finally took that step and had that
Yeah,
opportunity to have them all get certified so they know how to do it in those situations. That's
absolutely.
standing.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Like, cause I'm, from a small town, Camden. So you got to think like small rural communities, and that's makes up a lot of South Carolina is, the response time is probably a lot longer than if you're in like a Columbia or Charleston or, Greenville. So that's the other thing. That was a scary thing to think about that you could possibly be in a small town and call and the person not know 100% what you're supposed to do. So now they will. And that's remarkable. I'm very glad that we were able to get that passed.
Absolutely. So we're gonna switch things up a little bit.
Sure, sure.
You are a very busy woman. So not only are you a marketing manager, you're also a makeup artist,
I am.
an influencer,
I
a lip
am.
bar affiliate, and a
Yes,
mother.
I
So,
am.
so
Single mom.
how do you balance all of those multiple roles at the same time? Like what is your secret?
God, girl, that's all. Like a lot of prayer. But I think, there are things that I love. And I
Mhm.
think that that helps me to have a good attitude about it and to plan. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think that I'm definitely not perfect in any of them. Right. So I've been doing makeup for a long time. And it was just out of love. Like I said, I did pageants and I would get tired of looking gray, back in the day when before like makeup was the way it is now. I mean, sometimes foundation color was crazy. But I just kind of started it because I loved it. I love watching the transformation. Even now, like when somebody looks in the mirror after something I've done, like it's just a very touching thing, right? Um, and so I do use a lot of planning. I have like at work, I have my project management system, I have my calendar. I cannot go anywhere without like my phone because I keep all my notes and stuff in there. So I guess it's just a lot of planning, but it's a lot of things that I love to do. And I think having the love for it makes it a lot different. I don't feel like it's, oh my God, I gotta do this. It's like, oh, I get to do this today. So I think also attitude makes a big difference in the way, you kind of your perspective on things. Like, um, and that just comes with time and it comes with having a genuine affection for what it is you're doing. And I think that I've gotten to that role, especially with like my son, like watching him play sports and being competitive and giving his all, like that is so much fun for me. So, and my jobs are flexible. Like even with the American Heart Association, we work remote. Of course, we do a lot of events and I'm on, I'm doing stuff all the time. But this company itself, like, is amazing to work for. It's such a, family friendly environment, which helps. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a secret though. I just keep going. That's the thing. One foot in front of the other. Keep going.
I understand that completely. I used to do so many things in high school. When I was in high school, I was doing like 3 sports a year and I was doing
Oh yeah.
pageants and all these things. And I remember my family was always asking me, why do you keep doing all these things? And I'm like, well, I don't want to let any of them go. I love all of them. They all have something like they mean something to me. So why would I let go of something that I love doing? So I like that. I like that that's how you feel about it because that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so you're a makeup artist, so I have to ask, what are some of your favorite makeup trends or products right now? Like, what's something you're
Oh, so I'm a skin girl all the time. So skin to me is like it's just I think that's the first thing you see about with somebody is their skin, the glow. So I love how like all the, real glowy skin stuff is out. I have been really loving like Clarins. They have this double serum. Oh my gosh. It gives your skin the best glow. So I think that is probably one of my favorite things now. But I'm also a lipstick girl. So like Lip Bar, of course, is my favorite, one of my favorite lipsticks. But I also am loving the Fenty lipstick. Oh
I
my God.
love Fenty. They're
I
the
love Fenty.
best.
Yes. This one I have on is called MVP. It's one of my all-time favorite reds. Yeah. And I'm a lash girl too, so I love lashes, but I love like a natural, I don't want to do the crazy lash, but just like a natural, like this one I think I have on is called Queen, I think. So I love a natural lash. Yeah.
Those look beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I love the whole like dewy makeup. Like it feels just like very summery, very
Oh
fresh.
yeah.
So that's always what I like to do in the summer, just like go crazy with the glow. Like it looks like I've been
I mean,
outside sweating for 5 hours, but like in a good way.
I
That's how
love it.
I
Yeah. Yeah. But my
So,
favorite little thing too with the glow is to put it in your Cupid's bow.
just like the little
It just hits it. Yeah. I love it.
looks like, oh, so good, so good. Mm. So you do all these things. So
Mhm.
what tips would you give to aspiring influencers who want to make a positive impact through their platforms?
Sure. That's a great question. So I think for again, just keep your loves, right? So especially with me, like I think I was already doing makeup, right? And that I kind of already had the platform for that. Well, now I'm infusing, my heart story and just women's empowerment, confidence, all of that into what I do as an influencer. And I think that makes a big difference because you already have a captive audience. And it's not something that's completely off of it. Like I'm not doing, like throwing in another totally different industry. This is just my personal experience and it's organic, it's natural. I'm not telling somebody else's story, I'm telling my own story. And I think just as you grow up, you evolve and change. Like I'm still growing up, I feel like my story will change. And I think if you're honest with your followers and you're honest with your audience, then that's what people want. They want to see the truth. They don't want to see a whole bunch of filtered stuff and made up stuff. They want to see you. And I think if you're true to who you are, that just is a natural progression with what you can do. And I think that also, like, even during COVID, I remember getting like some um, other deals through like DHEC for, different things. And it was just from me telling my truth about what I felt about what was going on. And I think that's just important. That's what people want. They want to know what you really feel, what you're really doing, and be honest. I think that's the important.
Absolutely. So I'm glad I got to ask you those fun questions
Yeah,
because
me
at the
too.
gala it was very like based on your story and I was like, I want to know more about her. She seems like a fun woman. Like I want to know what she does on the weekends, like, you know what I mean? So I'm glad I got to ask you those questions.
Thank
So
you.
I have two more questions left for you.
Okay.
First one we have is how do you envision the future of heart health awareness and advocacy evolving in the coming years?
Oh, I love that question. So I think one of the biggest things, so one of the amazing things about the American Heart Association, we just celebrated 100 years on June the 10th. So that is amazing. Thank you. Yes. And so where, it's been a great, amazing 100 years, I think it's also shown us how much more we have work to do, right? And one of the biggest things that we're talking about all over is health equity. And I think just this conversation is important because both of us as women, we only represent maybe 35 to 38% of research subjects when it comes to heart health. Um, which is a challenge because we're also one of the groups that is affected the most by heart health, right? I forget, I think it's 1 in 20 women over the age of 18 or 19 have some type of cardiovascular disease. And that is, I'm sorry, not I said 1 in 20, 1 in 3. So that's a very scary number. And I think but the reason is there's not as much research even now. So again, tell you another little personal issue because I'm 42 now, I'll be 43 in December. And one of the things that I am going through now is perimenopause, which
Mm,
like a conversation, like, I remember my
the
mom
M
going
word.
through like, listen, I remember going through like mood swings and hot flashes when I was like probably like teenagers age. And I just thought my mom was kind of crazy. But like now I understand, like, this is real. It's a real thing. And I think that also, like, I feel more heart palpitations around certain times of the month, right? But there's not any research around perimenopause and women's heart issues. So now I'm kind of in a situation where I'm wondering if some of this was not also brought on from just hormones, right? But that's the thing. Like, a lot of times women are not, like, even me. I went in my position at the time, or it's still same person, and I love her. She's amazing, but she's a female, and we didn't look at my heart after 6 months. It took 6 months
Mm.
for them to think, oh, maybe it's hard. And I think that's the other challenge is just health equity is so important. Of course, we want everybody to have great health care and access to health care. I think that's the other thing, the other piece of it is access. But also, we need to make sure that we're doing the research to find out what is causing some of this stuff so that we can move forward and we're not having so many, cardiovascular deaths. So that's one of the things is that we are very excited about the research they've done so far. I mean, you see now tiny hearts, them going in and fixing things I mean, I've had one of my heart baby stories. I think William was a week old when he had his open heart surgery. So that's amazing. Now those things are, we're able to do that. But we've got to finish the way with the health equity piece, making sure that everyone has access to health care and making sure that we're doing the same for everybody. So, and also just having more research geared towards women and because, even the numbers with um, mothers, new moms, like those numbers of heart disease, I mean, they're super scary. Um, it's super scary. So third world numbers almost with some of the deaths that we have at maternal health at the time of birth or up to 3 to 6 months after. So there's just a lot more work that we have to do, but we're ready to do it and we're poised and prepared for the next century. So
For you guys. You guys are gonna do such great things these upcoming months.
thank you.
I
Thank
just
you.
know
I
it.
can feel it too. I can feel it. Yeah.
So my last question for you
Oh
is
my God. I'm sad.
it's
I
okay.
know.
Look
We'll,
after.
we'll talk. Right.
So, what do you hope people take away from your story and your work?
So I think one of the things that people always say when you've gone through something is, "Oh, you're so strong. You're so strong." And yes, you can be strong. And I think being strong is something, but I don't want women to feel like we just have to be strong. I want women to know that if you have a support system, use it. Don't be afraid to be your own advocate, but don't feel like you have to be strong every minute of the day because it's not realistic. And it's okay to be damsel in distress. Like, let people help you. Do not try to take on the world by yourself, and take care of yourself. That's what I want people to think. I mean, being strong again is good, but you don't have to be strong by yourself. Let people support you and help you and just take care of yourself so you don't have to just be, superwoman because we're not supposed to be superwomen. We're just supposed to be ourselves. And it's okay to do that. Yeah.
That really got me. I'm like tearing up a little bit.
I'm gonna cry and then I'm start crying. Then my lash will come off.
I love that you said that because that's such an
Oh,
I feel like so many women think that they have to be strong all day, every day, 24/7. But that's not how we work. That's not how anyone works. You can't be strong all the time. You have to be vulnerable at some point. So I'm so happy to hear someone say that out loud.
Yeah.
It's not something
Oh,
much. So thank you for saying that.
you're
That
welcome.
little bit. Oh no, the
Um,
tears
oh, girl, don't
flashing.
love you, Presley. We gotta hold him at least till this afternoon, girl. We got to. I
Miranda,
love you, Presley. Oh my God, you're so precious. I love it.
thank you so much for coming
Thank,
on Strength and Stories with me. It has been an experience to say the least to have
oh,
you.
thank you.
I
Thank
have
you.
had so much fun with you this afternoon, and I know hopefully everybody watching is gonna love you just as much as I do. And
Thank
hopefully they've already heard your story at workshop, but if you didn't, you got to hear it today. And the American Heart Association is such an amazing organization. They are a proud sponsor of Miss America and specifically Miss South Carolina. So
you.
I'm very excited to have been able to talk to you today. So thank you so much for coming. It means the world to me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I feel so amazed. Just I feel like all warm and fuzzy. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. And it's good to like talk to you more and get to know you more. And I wish you all the best. Cannot wait to hear how next week goes. So we'll have to you have to let me know if you need anything while you're down because you'll be downtown. Where are you gonna be? Were y'all here?
I'm at the host Hilton where we were for
Okay.
work. Hmm.
Okay. Oh, good. Yeah. So you're in Columbia. So if you need anything, yeah, let me know. Yeah, I'm excited. I cannot wait to watch even on is it Sunday, Saturday or Sunday?
Oh, so it starts like officially next week. We have
Okay.
like private interviews Tuesday, like rehearsals Wednesday, prelims Thursday, talent Friday, and final Saturday.
Oh, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be fun.
I'm so
It's
excited.
gonna be fun. Yeah, congratulations and good luck. I know you're gonna be amazing though. Yeah,
Well,
thank
everyone,
you.
Maranda Williams. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, guys.